Good morning, traders. It is a fast market. Let's get right to the action. You guys know where you're at. It's Trade the Pool, of course, and the markets are moving. Let's go take a look at what's going on right now. PCE coming in, team. So let's go take a look at the action. SPY moving right back to the upside with this action. Let's take a look at it here. I'll go ahead and share a screen here so you guys can see the action here. And of course, we'll be seeing a little bit to see what happens off of this. Now, getting a nice little lift on the first action. You guys can see the first reaction was to the upside, now kind of chopping a little bit. And it seems to me like this is in play. So let's go ahead. Let's talk about the numbers here and see what happened. The SPY coming in here and giving us some action. Of course, let's take a look at what exactly came in. And PCE is what we're focused on. So month over month came in at 0.1 versus a 0.2 estimate, prior being 0.2. So it comes in light, giving the upside potential here. And this is why I put out SOX L on the playbook. We'll talk about the playbook and just coming up, but I might as well just give it to you. And then when we take a look at the year over year number, that was also a view here. And year over year coming in at 2.7 versus a 2.7 estimate. And that's for the core. The main one here, I'm looking for the year number, not really seeing it right now. Seeing retail inventories for X autos in August at 0.4 versus 0.5, and personal spending at 0.2 versus 0.3, prior being 0.5. So nothing too bad there. Personal spending coming down a little bit. Maybe the market cares about that, but no, what it's seeming to care is that PCE number light, showing inflation's coming down more and more. And there goes the SPY, guys. There goes SOX L. Now it's a little bit too late to be playing this. You could have been playing it in the morning, right? That's the way I was kind of looking at it. 7 a.m. buy would have been the best way to look at this. Now you're up about $1 away from the action. So it's kind of hard to see the action there. We'll see what happens in Meta. If it starts to go higher in Meta, I might have to just take the money and run on my swing trade. You guys see the swing trade's up big, but we'll see what happens there as that continues on Meta. But this should help my MSOS trade as I went big on MSOS, guys. I got about 600 shares. So we'll be looking to see if MSOS can take that next leap back towards the 760s, going towards the 8. Who knows? Maybe making another $600 trade in the swing account. We'll be trying to do that there. Let's take a look at the action and what we can maybe trade off of this. AMD looked like a good little setup on the 15-minute chart. Now it's starting to make the move above those 67.80s. Maybe this gets to 168 today, 169 in play. You guys can also take a look around to see what's going to make moves, right? SMCI is going to be also one to kind of keep an eye out for. We'll see what happens with this one as it got destroyed, and now it's DOJ mentions. I mean, this thing is just the story of a disaster, literally a disaster in SMCI, and everyone was so positive about this stock. Well, look how quickly it's coming to an end here. It seems like I'd be running for the hills if I was in this stock now that the DOJ is going to take a look at it, and nothing's good here when you keep getting probes. Now in SMCI, they push back, of course, their earnings. They're going to be looked into pretty scrutiny. The scrutiny on this company is going to be pretty high now. And I think that you got to get out on SMCI. But let's go back to the SPY here. As we keep looking at the action, you can see how we're coming higher now. You can go to the Qs also and see the strength that's there. We'll see if NVIDIA can continue riding back towards the upside. There's a nice little potential move right back towards the trend line, right? So that'd be a move towards 126. You guys can keep your eyes on that. Micron, that had some decent earnings, right? Came back to support, now getting a little bit of a pop action. I'm seeing here to the right-hand side. So looking around to see what else can make a move. I've talked about Google's trade setup and how yesterday it looked perfect to make a move to 165. Today, it looks even better. Let's just say that much. So especially with the bullish way, the reaction that we're getting right now, a little part of me is thinking about taking the bet on Google right now. Still are a little bit ways away from that 165. We'll see what happens with Google. I would love to see an opening action through 164 and then maybe take some shots. All right, guys, let's go ahead. Let's get to the playbook action. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on and what's going on in different areas, but let's get to today's playbook. First up, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at what's on today's playbook. All right, team, let's go ahead. Let's do the first stock. Of course, stock sell is the one I'm going to be watching, but it's a little late, right? Like I'll be honest, right? This is one that I was watching earlier in the day and was looking to see if maybe take a shot there. I would have taken the shot at like 7 a.m. when it came out of this 39 range. So what I was doing was I have this drawn on my trade the pool platform, but I was drawing like a trend line here, and I was like, get above that trend line, start to show me that move. It first went through 39, then came right back below 39, the 38.90s, reclaimed that 39, and that was the spot where I think it was really nice. I was a little bit concerned at the CPI that you wouldn't retrace right back to that 39, but nice little lift now as you continue to push. This looks good to maybe come towards yesterday's high being 40.50. So that's where I see the run going towards right now. After that, you could get a little bit of a pullback. Looks pretty strong, though, here in the pre-market. Let's get to the second one on the playbook, and that's going to be Deere, looking for a move to 420 today. And of course, with the move right now that happened in the SPY and of course the Qs, it actually makes me feel a little bit more confident that this move could be in play towards the 420 and really start to get the lift out on Deere. Of course, if you look at the monthly, we're approaching now a monthly breakout towards the next level, which I would look at this 430 spot, right? So going through that 420, we're at 412s right now, going towards 430s. Eventually, I see 440s into play. But we'll see what happens here in Deere. I'm watching Cat. Cat's on a straight breakout, guys. Look at the monthly chart on Cat. Already through the highs in 24 and just ripping. And you guys remember, I was trying to swing trade Cat all throughout this kind of period when we were trying to get this little lift here. In September, I kind of stopped trading it, and it pulled back there. And that was the time to trade it, man. And that's how it goes sometimes. This was one that we talked about because of interest rates. And then now it got a Trump mention. Oh, cha-ching, cha-ching. So Picard is another one to look for a move through 100 today. It's been sideways off this level. I've owned it already and was green. I ended up getting out break even, looking to get back in it today, maybe even potentially day trading it. We'll see what happens here in the heavy farming and construction stocks. Let's get to the third one here on this play, and this is another one that we played before. We're going to look to see if SoFi can make a move above 8 and start to go back towards that 850. The daily chart looking good here. If you guys can see, it's a nice little setup, getting ready to go back through 8, a nice little pullback, curling around the 9 EMA, which is that light blue line that you clearly see there. We'll see. Can it get back there towards the 850s? It's been up there before, and it's already broken out of a long-term trend line, right? We always look for trend lines to kind of play in. It could pull back to that trend line, but the trend line's right below it, 750s. Let's see if we can just get an 850 run to 9, and this could really start to look like a breakout going towards the next weekly level here, towards that 913s. That's where I could see it can get a nice little push. We'll see what happens there in SoFi. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the playbook action. Of course, we'll start taking a look to see what stocks are moving out there. There is some news out there. It's not much news. It's going to be mainly just trading off the trade action today. I'm already seeing SoFi take a lift right now, so a little part of me is thinking about jumping in it already as we're starting to get to the 786 and pushing. This could easily get to 8 before the bell. We'll see what happens. It's 8:45. Let's go trading, guys. You know what? Let's get right to the action. Let's go straight into it. I'm going to skip the sunrise right now. We'll go right to the trading action. We'll talk still about some of these. I still got them that we can talk about it. But I feel like, you know what? Let's go trading, guys. Let's have some fun today, and let's see what we can come up with.
Wants 200, baby.
You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money.
It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at. What up, traders? How we doing? It's been a great week. Going to continue battling like always. And this is one of those weeks where I will be, transparent as always. It's a red week for me, but I'm not going to let that affect the vibe. Like always, traders, we got to keep battling. And it's not just about being in the green every single week, right? That's not what I'm here for. The truth is, I'm here to teach you guys and educate and let you guys learn from my experience, up or down. This week, What have I done good? What have I done bad? Those are things that I think are very important for traders to be thinking about, right? Because it's all usually about habits. Are we committing to the good habits, or are we sufficing to the bad ones, right? Are we just going towards those bad habits and kind of redoing those, right? So we were making good movement in the habit that I was seeing that was the biggest habit on the negative side of my trading, right? Which was what? Getting too big too quickly. And this week and last week, we started doing a size up process. And as you size up, of course, there's always going to be a running into a wall, right? Where you feel like maybe you got too big, right? I think I hit that wall, and I think that I need to be thinking about, how do I adjust here? What's going on really? Is it execution mistakes? Is it process mistakes? Those are the two questions you need to ask yourself when you're starting to struggle. Because if you can ask yourself these two questions, you can go ahead and get out of the rut. Why? Because you need to ask yourself, is it my process? Is there something wrong in my process? Or am I just not executing like I was with the smaller size? And in this case, just clearly not executing, right? Because the truth is that when have I lost on the trades this week? Yes, I have taken one bad VIXY loss, but other than that, the other trades have been what? Small caps, and catching me on those names as I tried to size up on those names and got caught. So one thing's for certain, realizing, hey, and I've said this before on this show, small caps aren't really like my bread and butter, right? That's not what makes me my trades. And really, my bread and butter comes from understanding themes, thematic trading, right? Looking into themes like we talked about earlier this week when we first talked about China and how China had given that stimulus and how it was going to have a meeting on Tuesday that could push it to the next level of that stimulus. And that's exactly what happened. We also talked about what kind of plays were some plays that maybe we could get after that maybe not everyone was looking at just right out the gates, right? Because of course they were going to look at BABA, JD, and PDD because those were the e-commerce ones, right? The just obvious ones, right? But then there was one that I mentioned here that was a really good trade, a swing trade that should have been put on by myself. I will mention that. I didn't execute on that trade, but we talked about it. I hope somebody was listening out there. We talked about the casinos and how those could potentially get a lift with anything with an exposure to Macau, right? And what do we see now? I've been looking at it. Have you guys taken a look at Las Vegas Sands, LVS, that we talked about right here, about a trade like that, right? And so that's what I need to stick to, right? Those types of trades. Another one mentioned right here on the show, right? I talked about how I wanted to trade Meta to the downside after the event, right? Not during the event, but after the event, right? Buy the rumor, sell the news. And I was also calling it to the upside before the event. And now what do we get? Yesterday, it just collapsed. I still took a swing trade and made a good trade. But really, that should have been the day trade. That should have been a monster type of trade. When we can have catalysts align ourselves with our variables, right? So when we can have story, fundamentals, and technicals, plus the market come into play in the same direction, that's when we're going to get our biggest trades. So I'll take a look at that and keep trying to push into that, right? Go back into what I know best. And so, yes, you guys might see me pull off a little bit from those small caps. I hope nobody gets offended from that. It doesn't mean that you can't trade the small caps, because I had a really good time for a while there trading in the pre-market with them. But I'm just going to sit them on the sideline for now and focus more on the bread and butter, because that's what I try to do. At the end of the day, I'm here to show you guys that professional approach and then continue being a professional. So let's get to the market. Let's go take a look at what we can do today and make that money, babe. There's the reason why they call me Money Mitch. I'm ready to go ahead and get right back to it. All right, guys. So SoFi is going to be one definitely on the watch. Already spiked there to 789. I talked about it when it was at 785, and we actually talked about it before, right? It's on the playbook. One to definitely keep on the radar today. Deer already getting a little one. I'll be watching this one out the gates. I think this one can really make a move. And if this one makes a move, also take a look to see XLI and other names start to make a move. Honeywell, another one that we can take a look at, right? GE, of course, continues the strength. It's pulled back the last day or two. This could be an easy one that just comes right back on a good day today. We'll see what happens in different areas. I'll be watching all different type of trades today, but ready to get after it. Even cannabis names would be into play today. Like, let's say like Tilroy. This one could make a little bit of a move back towards $2 today. Even just a little pop there towards like the 180s. So if you're looking for a smaller play, I'll give you a smaller play. But I'm not going to be trading this one, but I'm just going to give you guys it, right? They can definitely call them out. And the reason why I'm looking at this one is because I'm in a swing trade on MSOS. This lines up with that, and we'll see what happens if we can get a nice little lift. Let's go to the SPY. The SPY is topping a little bit here, now pulling back. So remember that Fridays have been one of the choppiest trading days of the week. For the last 3 to 4 weeks, I've had the biggest struggles, and they're on Fridays. So today, what do I got to do? I just got to play it smart, guys. Play it small, play it quick. Sometimes being quick to the profits on Friday, I think is very important because they're trying to catch traders on Fridays. And one of the number one things we don't want to do is just get run over, right? I do see one in the smaller cap names that I know at least something about, which is IonQ. Of course, we're talking quantum computers. When we're talking IonQ, I've talked to Niccolo De Masi multiple times, of course, that runs this company. IonQ, we'll see if this starts to make the lift back towards 10. This is a good one to watch for, just for like kind of an AI play that's not really an AI play, right? It's just quantum computer. But take a look at the monthly on this, and this monthly actually looks really good. So when you look at small caps and you look at their daily charts or things like that, take a look at the weekly or monthly to see if you see some kind of consistency in the pattern. If you see consistency in the pattern, that's something you can look at. IonQ is trying to go back through 10. We'll see what happens. As you can see here, it's starting to get hot. Not a bad one to keep a watch on. It's more of your kind of your hype stock. So if you guys like those type of names, there's one just to add to your plate, and then we'll see what happens. Catching up with you guys in the chat. What's going on, Jane? Scotty, what's up out there? It's good to see you guys. Is that Savaje or is that Savage? Savaje, what's up out there? My balance is 1850, but my profit limit is 30% above the account and expiring this Sunday weekend. What should I do? I spoke to customer service chat. He sent it to the office. So the balance is 1850 on the 20 eval. Which eval? That's one thing I'll ask because I kind of got to know what the profit target is. Maybe we can work out a solution, or maybe at least work out a potential solution. But if the profit limit is above 30% in this account, you might have to just try to take another trade, a bigger trade, right? It has to push you above that profit target, but it's more about the percentage here. Definitely it's something that you have to like kind of calculate out. But hey, good to see you out there, D-Jump. What's up out there, guys? Are we taking a look at what trades were we watching? Soxal's been the play this week. Hey, get it, Snoopy. Let's get those snow cones. It's good to see you out there, man. And on a Sunday, on a Friday, I definitely could use a little snow cone at the end of the day. All right, FJF, let's go. Shane passed the mini BP yesterday, in one day yesterday. Thanks for the insights and commentary each day. I really appreciate it. Hey, power to you, my friend. Power to you, Shane. Passed the mini buying power yesterday in one day? That's what I love to hear, Shane. I'm really glad to hear that, man. And it's great to hear traders just like this. And I talk about this all the time, guys. That's what I do this for, right? You know, every day I try to battle here and, get better. But truly, at the end of the day, I do this to pay it forward for you guys out there. You listening in right now. So if you want to continue to up your level in trading, right? Join us right here on Trade the Pool. We're going to continue pushing to that next level. I'm here to continue through the journey, and you guys will see me battle and tell you guys from the ups and the downs, right? It's great to see that you got that now funded account, and I'm looking forward to hearing great things from that, Shane. Of course, take it easy. Try to build that nice cushion. I always talk about that, how important it is. You also hear the CEO, Michael, talk about that all the time on the funded account interviews, how it's important to build that cushion. Start to try to drive that consistency then you can worry about paying yourself, right? I think that's the same way in the evals, right? You drove it to the funded. Now get after it. Go get that money, man. It's great to hear it. All right, day trade Tony, what's going on? What's the small one moving today? ONCO. All right, we could take a look at that. I might need you more often, day trade with Tony. You might have to come on and give a little bit of a quick small cap rundown. Hey, man, the door's open to you. If you ever want to hop on, let me know. All right, here's that battle for that one. This one's been battling a couple of times. 1, 2, 3 runs here towards the 640s, 650s. And when I see those 3 runs, it has all to do with kind of like the Dow theory and kind of wave theory. So when I see those 3 runs, I'm thinking one more run. It has that one more run capability where it can maybe go towards like 7 or something like that, because I can see that the pumps are about $1, right? Every time it pumps, it's like about $1 that it pumps. So I can see maybe still potential to get through that 7. Can it go further than that? I'd have to take a look, but take a look at the daily chart on this thing. It's an ugly daily chart, always pumps and dumps. So right now it's on the pump. So just always remember that this could come crashing right back below that 5. Right now, it's still looking good. I am starting to see a little bit of some red in the market, and Meta's coming right back down. So at least that's making me feel a little bit more confident about sticking into that position overnight, right? I have still a position on the swing trade, looking to see if we can still come down a little bit further back towards the 9 EMA is what I see, like 57s, 50s, and that's what makes sense for me. It could go further. It could go back to 530s. But right now, what I'm seeing is more just coming back to support. And then there'll be buyers because the technology that Meta revealed wasn't a bad one. All right, we'll see what else is out there. Definitely, this is one to keep an eye out there. What's going on, guys? Does anyone know when the limited edition, until when the limited edition will be offered? Well, the truth is we don't have an exact date, but I can tell you, it's limited. I think it's more based on how many get taken, right? I don't know for certain. Don't quote me for that. But I think it's so important, guys, to understand what a great opportunity this one really is. This is way better than any of our packages. And like I've stated, I still think that 70 to 30 is the main focus here that would push me to the package. Not just because it's a cheaper package and it's smaller profit target, which makes it easier, of course, but it's more about what happens once you get funded, right? Because the truth is, we're all just trying to get paid, right? I mean, if we're not getting paid, then it's not worth it to us. So in this case here, that profit split at 50-50 doesn't really make that much exciting sense to me. But at 70-30, I'm all in. So, hey, there you guys have it. On my limited account, I will let you guys know I am right now down 975. But it's been a little bit of a battle, right? I've had a couple of trades. I've actually had more losses than wins on that one, and just going to continue to battle, right? Like that's what it's all about, traders. So we started this one on Monday. Let me take a look at the stats right quick and kind of pull them up. I'm pulling them up right here to kind of show you them. But just got to continue to battle, right? Like always, guys. And that's the number one thing that we will do is trying to find ways to get around that. Yesterday, I had 150 available for me. Didn't go. And I was trying to trade that VIXI move, man. And it was such a setup. But really, it just didn't work out, guys. So, hey, that's how it goes. Look at this, guys. And this is the full transparency in me, guys, showing you guys this because that's what it's all about, guys. Look at this. So this is that limited account. Look, I've only won one trade on here. One trade. And I'm only down $9.76, really $2, but with fees a little bit more. But look at that, guys. And that's what it's all about. It's all about what? Keeping the average loss and the average win in the same direction, right? Largest loss is $52, largest win $180. Right there, that's what I want to keep it to, right? Because that's keeping me what? In my profit to loss ratio. And if I do that, when I have these losses, it doesn't even matter, right? 14% accuracy, but just break even. That's fine. Because I have a feeling we're due for a nice win today. So let's keep getting after it. I always love to show this because the truth is You don't need to be perfect, guys. Just try to keep trading and staying in control with that profit to loss ratio. That's what it's all about, right? Day trade with Tony. Let's go, guys. All right, what's up out there? What do we got? Your extension button in the hub, you could extend the eval for another 45 days if you're in the green. Yeah, you could do that. That's one way to go about it. All right, let's keep going. Let's take a look at what else is out there. Smash the like. All right, right now taking a look to see what's going on in the SPY. The SPY's chopping all around a little bit here as we start to pull back, but it's going to be all about the open. And I think that we got to be a little bit careful at the open here because we're going to see a little bit of a shift. Now, there is one area that I will be kind of watching. I'm watching Clean Spark, and I think that I talked about this yesterday. Could it break 10 and start to make the move? It started to make the move yesterday. It started to go into 10 now. So now we could look for pullbacks quickly towards like 960s or something like that for a recovery. I always look for hourly long pullbacks on Clean Spark, the same way it did it here. So you see it here on the 25th, right? It rises, it pulls back to the support, it rises, it pulls back to the support, it rises, pulls back, rises, pulls back is what I'm going to look for. And that's the way that I go about it, right? So now can it pull back to the support? That's a move back towards like 1019 today, maybe cutting towards like 1015s and then coming back around. That's what I'll be looking for on Clean Spark as it starts to make the move. Mara also in play today as you see it up there to 18s though. This one's on a little bit more of a breakout, and I'll be looking for also pullbacks to come back into play. We'll see what happens today in these names. All right, let's keep going. We'll see what else is out there. What else we got here? Let's take a look. BTBT up also. Yeah, a lot of it looks like the Bitcoin miners starting to get a nice little lift. You can take a look at HUT, right? They're all starting to make the move. Just keep an eye on them to see if we have a nice positive day. Also, if we continue to have like the positive, XLP could run into a little problem today. We'll see what happens with that. All right, looking around XLE, of course, yesterday was a little bit of a bounce, but I think today they come back in and probably wash this. So I'll be watching to see what happens here in XOM right out the gates. This is already dropping a little bit here. Like I talked about yesterday, you got to look for maybe hourly pullbacks to then get flushed on. So maybe catches some traders right here out the open, a little pop towards 114, and then the takedown later in the day for oil would be something I would keep an eye open for. Chevron, of course, is going to be a little bit weaker. So that one could come right out the gates. Could take a look at that. And what happened to Oxy? Oxy's back at 50, right? So this could keep going down further as it's starting to break long-term support and could go back towards 40 here. Definitely rejecting the move, but of course, keep in mind it could come back to this 9 EMA before it lets go. It's on its own little island right now. We'll see what happens there in oil. All right, seeing Micron still staying strong, so that's one definitely to keep an eye out. And if Micron's strong, look for AVGO to also play strong, as this one's already recovering. And I take a look at the hourly right now. You can see how we have hourly kind of trend line that we can draw here on AVGO, and this one could be pushing. So I already see the strength on this one already. It's holding right now, pullbacks towards around 176, looking to try to take 179 and 180 today. We'll see what happens in AVGO. AMD, I've talked about how that was an interesting setup there on the 15-minute. It's going right back towards that 168. Could just be in takeoff mode. Today could be an everything kind of rally based on the economic data. But, of course, nothing has been going according to plan as of late. And it's been a lot of choppy action. And what happens is, this is what happens when you play within a channel a lot of the times. And so that's what we're playing. We're playing a channel up right now. And this is what we need to understand. And when you play channels, a lot of the times, things look like they're going to go break out, and then they break right back down, right? So right now, we're moving to the upside of the channel again. And we could run into a wall again at some point today. So I think that that's one thing that we need to be thinking about, because since it's going to be trading in that type of channel, we could just keep bouncing along, right? So you can see how things are going to the top and then sweeping back to the bottom. to the top, sweeping back to the bottom. So right now, everyone's leaning to upside the way that things look towards the market because it looks like that, right? I can't blame you, right? And then we'll look to see if we get another quick sweep back down. Now, Tesla has been hot, guys. That's one that we're looking to see if it finally makes the run to 270. 270 is in reach, even today. I think it could just make a kind of a blow-off attempt here. And as we keep going, of course, the event is October 10th, which is still 2 weeks away, right? You're like about 2 weeks away there. So I'd be looking to see that this has one more week of run. Now, the week of the 7th in October, that's when I start to see Tesla maybe start to pull back a little bit. But right now, you're still able to kind of maybe play this within. So 90 EMA pullbacks could also be a way to reload on Tesla. If it makes a pullback below 250s, that could be something to look at for a swing. But just looking at it, guys. All right, what's up out there, guys? Let's keep going. Let's get to the next level. How do you keep your commissions low when you're averaging into your positions? Great, Scott. That's a completely smart one. And a good question to ask, right? I think what it's all about is just understanding that commissions are going to be a part of the trade, right? I don't really stress too much the commissions. I almost never even really focus on them. I just think about it in how do I best trade the trade, right? And a lot of times, one thing that I would say is I was doing for a little bit there, like a lot of like half sells. But lately, especially in the last, let's say, 2 or 3 months, I've been doing more of full sellouts. And that might be the way that it could help you. Great, Scott. So instead of trying to take partials on the outs, you can still take partials on the in, right, on entry. But maybe on exits, you're taking a full out position, right? Because when we take too many partials, that's when we start to really get the commissions to that next level. And the truth is, when you're taking that partial off, one way that I've been going about it for not taking the partial off, and I'll tell you, Great Scott, the way that I've been doing it is I'll raise the stop. I'll raise the stop, right? And so if I get to a point where I want to take a partial, I'll say, let me put the stop there. And if the stop goes back down, I take the full position off there. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that because it's securing money. So I've just been trying to work the stop game to secure the money. One way that you can go about it. All right, let's keep going. We'll see what else is out there. I have made 1090 on a single trade, not because I intended it, but the stock halted. And when it resumed trading, bam, gave me 2 times the reward. Hey, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Take the money and use it. So if you have too much of a profit on one trade, understand that, yes, you might have to make more money so that profit percentage goes down. But if you go and you make another couple $1,000 trades, that should start to bring it back down, right? So you need to make multiple trades at that level if you start to notice that profit margin starts to jump to that level. So if I made a couple of $1,000 trades and yes, my percentage on the account is just a little bit too high, I need to make more profits so that percentage goes down. If that percentage goes down, it's off of profit, right? So just make more money. That's your only option at this point. And there's nothing wrong with that option because it gives you a cushion, right? You should still have a cushion because you made so much money, right? If you're just on that in one trade, it's going to make you take that and take that over, right? So, of course, the limited account does have a little bit more cushion there for that kind of action. But hey, smash the like, guys. I'm seeing a lot of you guys join up on X. We're getting ready for the open here. Let's get ready to go, guys. It's what, 9:11 here. We still got a couple of minutes before the bell. Market action still is to the upside right now. I'm seeing NVIDIA up at 124. So, man, NVIDIA has been really climbing as of late. We'll see if it gets back there towards the high of 127 today. That's definitely in play. Looking around, how's SoFi now? SoFi is at 785. So it did pull back off that 790s. I'll keep this one on the radar today. And we'll be watching different names to see what we can get into. I'll be still watching Meta to see if this comes right back down. If not, I'll probably just get out of this one. Still got the swing trade on. Just got to watch that out the gates and take the money if needed. All right. MSOS going to 717s. We'll see if that one can really make the move today too. Maybe cannabis stocks can get a little bit of a push. We'll see. We'll see, guys. Solar names are interesting to take a look at. They've been kind of sideways for a little bit, especially this run. Let's see if a good technology day could get this to get another run. Haha, pun intended. But could make a move to like 2055. FSLR has already been on a takeoff, and that's why I'm calling out run, because FSLR is already pushed. So I wouldn't be playing this one. But we all know how these love to play catch up. So ENPH also in play for a little bit of a play today. So I'm actually going to put a little bit of an alert on both of those, because the way that FSLR is, it looks interesting, right? So ENPH already lifting in the pre-market here. And look at this, guys. It's already pushing. Nice little push off that 114. So I'll be watching this to see if it can get to 116, but definitely something to watch. I'll look at run also, because it runs at least cheaper in price, and we could keep a really close eye on that name. All right, let me go to the limited account, because that's where I'll probably trade run. It's at least a smaller and cheaper name. Trying to recover 19 on run. We'll see if I can get that there. If I look at the daily chart, it's been holding around 1830s and trying to recover back around the 9 EMA. It's a run towards 950s. So that's kind of the up end. And then, of course, towards 20s. We'll see what happens there in run today. All right, let's keep going. I've taken a look at IonQ already, Steph. We'll see what happens with that one. It's a quantum computing play. It's not just a fake penny stock, I'll call it. What I mean by fake is it at least has like a product that has at least something up its sleeve, but we'll see what happens out there. Did you guys take a look at LVS, guys? I didn't even get a chance to show you guys this. I talked about it at the beginning of the show, and then we didn't even look at it. But I talked about this, guys. We talked about this on Wednesday when this started to pull back, and I was talking about how maybe what's a play that we could look for to maybe play this China run. And man, I wish I would have taken the swing on this one. Could have bought maybe the 45s or the 44s that day, and look where it's at already, 50. It's up 14% from that, guys, and just gapping up higher. And this isn't the only casino that's making a lift today, right? So keep your eyes on the action. It's going to be something definitely to watch. We'll see what happens there, man. What a liftoff there in LVS. Let's go to a couple of names out there that have some news today. We got Bristol Myers, BMY, that had some news. We'll see if this affects the health space overall, if it can make a little bit of a lift. Maybe you can see other names that have a similar drug. Well, the FDA approving here, Bristol Myers, marking the first drug here or treatment for schizophrenia in over 70 years. So this is a big move here, right? And so this will be addressing the need of nearly 3 million U.S. adults suffering from this disorder. Bristol Myers sees this as a major revenue driver following its $14 billion acquisition of Karuna Therapeutics. So that's what I'd be watching for now. Can this continue to get the lift? We'll see what happens. I mean, it's definitely an interesting space and something to look at. Then we can talk about NVO, as JP Morgan has warned about what could happen with the weight loss drug. Of course, Wegovy is definitely taking a hit after potential Q3 sales underperformance. And I did see that they were on, of course, they were in DC kind of getting questioned. The CEO was getting questioned about why it's so expensive for US to buy Wegovy. But then if you look in elsewhere in the world, it's like a fraction of the price. So something to look at. SMCI, we've talked about that one, but take a look at this other casino that wasn't the play that I mentioned, but still exposure to Macau, right? Wynn Resorts, just like LVS, was there on Wednesday. And now, where is it? It's a nice 12.45% higher. And look at the analysts now start to chase. And this is exactly what happens today. And this is how analysts work. So a clear example here is this analyst from Morgan Stanley now stepping up to the plate and upgrading the stock to overweight, highlighting the company's strong fundamental compared to its peers. Lemmings, I tell you, all these analysts, they're lemmings, man. They just react to the price action and upgrade the stock now. Why weren't you upgrading the stock a week ago if you thought the fundamentals were so great? That's what happens, guys. They're just lemmings. They just react to what happens. All right, we'll see what else is out there. Smash the like. Company announced a $54.5 million contract with the U.S. Air Force Research Lab, IonQ, going to the moon. Nah, at least has a catalyst, right? It's a real small cap. It's not a bad one. I'm trying to stay away from the small caps today, but IonQ is not a bad one to watch, guys. The thing that I'll tell you about this one is that it's a lot of long-term thinking with this one. It's nothing that's really like changing things right now, but it's interesting at least, and it does get a lot of following, especially when AI was hyped. Baba made 20% this week. Yeah, I mean, Baba's just... I talked about this, how Michael Burry was taking big bets on China and how everyone was laughing at China's underperformance. But I think that in the long run, you might see the opposite, right? You might see outperformance in China going into the following year, right? And I think that that's so important to kind of catch. I'm here going to try to pull up something here. Let me see if I can find it really quickly here. I want to show you guys something that I was looking at earlier this week, and I was like, man, something definitely to take a look at, because I think that a lot of times like traders just get driven in one direction and they're just not paying attention to what's really happening, what's happening underneath the radar, right? And so that's what I'm looking at right now. I wanted to show this China chart. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. Not finding it right now. Just give me 2 seconds, guys. Let's go, guys. It's 9:18. We're almost getting there towards 9:30. Just want to show you guys this because I think it's a really important chart to kind of catch. And keep your eyes on those nuclear plays. Today could be another day that they start to make a push. So I know that I talk about so many different themes and plays out there, but I hope somebody is able to catch some of that action out there. So definitely be watching to see what happens out there with different stocks. But smash the like, guys. We got a lot more for you guys. Come on. Where's that China news? Nick. I don't have it right now. It's all good, guys. I'll find it in a little bit. But smash the like, guys. We got a lot more for you guys. Taking a look to see what happens in Baba today. I still see this not playing that much in the intraday, but Yin's been on a complete takeoff, so that's definitely something to think about, right? We'll be seeing what happens in the action today, but whew, it's been something else, man. All right, of course, PCE coming in today, and it was light, guys. Can I dare say light? Yes, inflation coming down, right? All right, here it is. I told you I'd find it, guys. I just had to work for it a little bit. Here's that image. I retweeted this too, and I said, you know what? I don't really feel this way, guys. I feel that the worst part of this trade is that it might flip. And that was on September 25th, right? On that Wednesday. I felt that this could continue, right? And this is the comparison between US stocks and Chinese stocks return, right? And now you can see what's happening. Well, it looks like the S&P is probably topping a little bit, and China's making a comeback. So I think at this point, we continue to watch, and we can look for China outperformance. Of course, you got to look for some pullbacks to kind of play this, right, on the long term. You can still day trade them up here, but keep an eye out, guys. These are plays that could be working, right? Yin is definitely one way to play this on a smaller base. FXI is another way to play this in a large cap, where you get exposure to all of them, right? It's a large cap exposure here in China. Or you can look at smaller plays like the casino plays, like those type of plays. And even the one that I was playing yesterday, even though I took a hit on it, it could make another move today. All those little educational ones in China, they can squeeze like nobody's business. So I would definitely watch these. It's not something that I'm going to be, too much in, but something that I'd look at. Would I buy a yin pullback? Yes, but it'd have to come back to like a pretty big pullback, guys. It would have to be like 90 MA pullback, back at 30. On the day trade action, yin isn't the best. That's one thing that I can tell you guys right now. It does make like hourly long pullbacks and maybe hourly range moves, but a lot of things on this is more of a gap type of play. So you got to catch it on the right move on the pullback. So I would be at least looking back at 30, but definitely maybe if it fills the gap to 33, you can start taking a look at it. I would be looking at smaller plays to try to join the action. Like look at where JD is. They're ways away. So they need to pull back a significant amount for at least swing trades. But day trades are still able to be made up here. But it's not going to be the biggest return on the day trade action. This thing loves to do an overnight action. So that's where it gets really difficult. Why? Because they trade a lot right off of the China market, and that's so important. So maybe you could take a look at this in a different way. Maybe you're taking a look at this as playing it or swing off these levels, and then you just got to pay attention that in after hours you don't get a quick pullback. These do have potential to run more, but I mean, it's been an insane run already. All right, guys, taking a look to see what else is moving out there. XPEV, of course, that's another way to play these, right? The China auto plays. We'll see what happens on that one. LI is my favorite one of those, and there's a reason why. The government's in LI. They have exposure, literally, to LI. So LI's come from 50, right? This is actually not a bad one. It might have a little bit still to go. I'd like to see the pullback kind of fill the gap. If it could fill that gap, that's a nice little approach to take a shot on a stock that could get a lift. Of course, this is in the EV space, so it's not going to get as much as a lift as some of the other ones, like let's say Baba, because it's a tech name. All right, Disney, something to look at. All right. All right, keep it up in the chat, guys. Let me know what you guys are taking a look at today. Disney, how is that trading now? It's up there to 95. Turning around a little bit. Maybe it can get to 100. It's not a bad time for Disney. Maybe it starts to play within this range, right? It's done these range moves a little bit as of late, right? Look at the weekly. You can see how it's done these range moves. So I'd look at the monthly and say, yeah, it could easily be starting to make a monthly move right back. And it's been up here in the past multiple times to like 110, even up to like 120. So I could see 110 in play. Not a bad way to take a look at that for Disney. All right, guys, we'll get ready for the bell here. It's 9:24, 9:25. We got about 5 minutes here. I might have to go get something to drink, get ready for the open here. Always need more coffee right before the bell. Who can't use more coffee right before the bell? All right, guys, we got about 5 minutes here for that bell. Smash the like, guys. We got a lot more to take a look at today. Healthcare will be an area. Industrials, of course, hot as of late. And utilities, they just can't get weak. Eventually, I think that trade will turn, but can't get weak right now. Energy is the one to look at for some downside today. I'll be watching to see what happens there in XOM. Right now, it is starting to bounce a little bit. I'd like to see this make an attempt to run towards 114 and then just come smacking back through 113. We'll see what happens there. All right, looking around, that ONCO made a move to 650s and then pulled back. IonQ trying to make a move back through 9. Boyle, the natural gas, the Widowmaker. Where's Wisdom when you need them? Wisdom and I have a nice inside joke on this one. But yeah, Boyle making a move, guys, and bouncing off of that 1030s. Could be pushing through that 11 today. We'll see what happens on this. Natural gas getting a little bit of a spike. Interesting. All right, we'll see how that affects different trades today. MPC, I saw was lifting yesterday. We'll see if this one gets a push today. I don't know. This one's a little bit of a mixed noise. I had no idea why it was making a push. So maybe it just catches a little bit of some resistance today. Turns red. We'll see what happens. Boyle already pulling back. And there's Boyle also has something that's inversed against it. I forgot which one it is. But I'll save that one for Wisdom. I don't trade Boyle anymore. That's the Widowmaker, man. It'll make you a widow really quick. Healthcare, we'll see if that kind of gets the push, of course, with the BMY. Mentioned consumer cyclical has been hot as of late, even lodging, apparel. All these names are getting the push because it looks like things aren't as bad. At least that's what the stocks are showing at this moment. We'll see if that turns as restaurants even make a move to the upside. So just a little while ago, we were looking at recession concerns, and now you're getting pushes in McDonald's, in Starbucks. So Starbucks looks good for maybe 100 run. Chipotle also maybe gets a push here towards 59 today. They're all looking like they're trying to push here. So I'd keep this one on the radar. Chipotle just recently has made a little bit of a run. Yesterday was already at that 59, pulled back. Let's see if it goes back and just reclaims it today. Chipotle. All right, 9:27, getting ready for the open here. You guys smash the like. Let's go for it. All right, guys, seeing the Qs right now. They're just pulled back a little bit there. So I think that we're going to have a little bit of a tough open here. Let's see what happens. But we get a quick little pullback here. I'm seeing JD and PDD show up on the scanners. Man, PDD with that move down. It's almost like someone paid Biden to give that mention on Temu because a PDD came down, way down there, guys. It was at 100, right? Started to come back. On that Wednesday, I mentioned, would we fill the gap? Would we fill this gap? We literally drew this on that day. It says it right here, the 24th, right? We created it on the 24th, on Tuesday. Would we fill the gap? We're almost there already. What a nice little gap fill that was. That's a 20% little gap fill. So these gap fills, sometimes traders, are some of the best trades I've seen in the market. Purely wide, guys. I need to play more and more of these shadow fills, especially on swing trades. What you got to do is you got to go in it so slow to find the bottom. But if you can go in it very slow, let's say in like 10 days, 20 days of entry, something that you're thinking about it like that, you're just buying the supports and just trying to get in on supports, and build a position. I mean, what a beautiful trade there. I know they say don't buy the falling knives, but man, I've seen that countless times work out. It just has to be the right kind of stock, right? And so in this case, you didn't know PDD was going to run into some more problems with Biden, but really, I didn't think we were going to be able to do too much against this company. And look at the liftoff, though. What a push. All right, 9:20, 9:30. Let's go get after it, team. You guys be safe out there. And let me know if you guys see any of those smaller names moving. I'll definitely at least take a peek at it. And I'm still going to call them out, but it's just not going to be something that I'll be trying to trade too much of. Like always, guys, get ready. It's time. Let's go.
It's time!
Let's go. Stay safe out there, traders. All right, let's see what happens right out the gates. Q's starting to make a little bit of an up move. We'll see if it makes a push here. 490s in play here. Let's see what happens. Now look like we're getting a little bit of a decline out the gates here. AMD pulling back out the gates. NVIDIA pulling back out the gates. And we'll see what happens. MU with a big pull back out the gates. That one's a quick wash back down to 109s. So if you're looking for a gap fill, this is the downside gap fill attempt, guys. And Micron coming fast to the downside there. Back towards 109 now. And quick little $2 wash there on Micron. So definitely a down hit there in Micron for sure. SoFi getting a little push up there towards the 786. Just keeping an eye on that. Deer. A little bit of a push in the pullback. We'll see what happens on Deer today. Pakar is one that I'll definitely be keeping a very close eye on today. Also feel like it's a good opportunity just watching the overall market here to see what happens. But definitely a nice little setup, especially towards like 97s and 98s. Still looks good. NVIDIA, hard hit to the downside there. Just pulling back to the support right now. Stock sell going to be pulling back here, going to give an opportunity for a little bit of a pullback opportunity here. We'll see what happens on that. If I go to the hourly, where could that come into play here? I'd look at the trend line to see what happens there. Could draw a little bit of a pullback back towards like 39.20s. That's what seems to make sense here. See that catch a little bit of a dip. It had about the 1, 2, 3 attempts to get through this 40.40 and definitely ran into a little bit of trouble there. Meta up and right back down. So I'm going to be able to hang in on that swing trade right now. We'll see what happens. There's Run to give me a little bit of an alert. Run is one that I want to keep a very close eye on today. Just broke through that 19. We'll see if this one wants to make a little bit of a move here. I don't mind it here. Just got to be careful for a little bit of a pullback there and then a reload on Run, especially with the market pulling back right now. But I'm definitely keeping a very close eye on this Run today. Hourly chart has a nice resistance right around here, so I'm trying to see if it can clear that first 1918s. It could pull back here towards the 1875, so just keeping it on watch. Q is still pulling back there. That's another thing that I'm looking at, right? Because that's a big area to kind of keep a watch. Still pulling back now, back towards 489. Google trying to push. That one I still like. Guys know that's going to be one definitely that I'll be willing to trade it with my main account and trade that big. So Google already pulling back here, just reloaded at 164. So that's the level that I like for pullbacks here at 164, but I might have to jump up here. It's already making a nice attempt here. I'd like any pullback here back towards 164. It's at 164.50. It's already pushing strong here. I just need any type of pullback here for Google, like this trade here. Would love to see a pullback back towards 164 on this. ENPH giving me an alert too. So Run, ENPH definitely on alert. There's Google now towards 164.75. Just watching around on those solar names to look for pullbacks here. Qs are right off the support. Could catch a little bit more here, but definitely SPY coming right back up. So that's actually looking pretty good there. Google looks great. I just need some kind of pullback now. Don't want to just jump up here at 164.75 and then get it caught on a 164 pullback. But Google looking great here, guys. I feel like they bought it up on that hourly pullback towards the 164. They're already pushing it towards 165. It could make it in a hurry there. So maybe I should just jump up here, but I don't feel like chasing. That's just not me, guys. So I need some kind of pullback closer towards the VWAP here, and then I can go ahead and take an opportunity. Q's going lower. That's probably going to give me that opportunity. So it could even come back towards that 163.78 here if the Q's go far enough down. Micron fade opportunity on Micron. So right off the VWAP, this 110, nice opportunity there to short Micron if you want to short it. So you feel Micron's just going to completely start going back into the gap. That's an opportunity, and you got the trade there. So trade setup wasn't actually a bad one there. Up one, down one, up two, down two. I'd look for maybe one more attempt up here on Micron and then go for the short. If it goes back to that 110.14, I'll take a look at it. Going to Google now. All right, market's pulling back here. Going to give me an attempt here for Google to buy the pullbacks. Just need a little bit more. I don't want to buy on the 9. I'm looking for a little bit further down. Let's see how the Qs react here. There's some pullback. That's still weak. Run down now to 1877. So definitely getting hard pullback action here, guys. So just be careful out there. I'm going for Google. It's one of the stronger ones, but still I'm seeing a lot of red out there out the gates to start this. What's green? Basic materials, probably gold, right? Looking at it right now, coal, chemical, aluminum, steel doing well. Gold actually not up that much yet. Copper doing well today. No, copper's in the red. Coal and chemicals. Aluminum doing pretty well. That's one area. Here's Google. I'm going to get that opportunity here. All right. 164s dropping fast here on that 164. Now into the 163s. I'm taking the first 100 here, but you got to be careful here as it starts to pull back. Q's still pulling back a little bit there, but I like this entry here for 164s. Now I'm going to look to see if it bottoms out around that 163.70s. Micron, nice little flush there, at least if you're shorting Micron, that you got the move right there. VIXI's trying to go back to 12, but man, it's going to be so hard to play the VIXI today, I'll tell you that much. All right, there's a little recovery there. Q's starting to come back a little bit. Still seeing the weakness out there in Micron, though. Seeing NVIDIA come back a little bit here. So I'm going to let it maybe drop back below the 164 one more time, and then I'll look for it to start coming back. All right, starting to see it come back already here. So already taking a look at it here. Let's see what happens. Can we approach that 164 again? Yes, we approach it. We bounce there. Looking for an undercut there. Just long only 100 shares right now as I want to see it start working in my direction. Then I can take a bigger bet. Especially the Qs. I want to see the Qs kind of catch here at the 9:45 time especially. So it's 9:40 right now in a second here. It's 9:39. Looking for the 9:45 reversal back to the upside. So I don't want to get too big until that 9:45. So I'm just sticking to that 100 share size right now. SoFi, it looks like it wants the 8 today, guys. I'd take a look at that. That doesn't look too bad. Definitely starting to approach that 8. It was on the playbook. We'll see if it approaches that 8 and gets that 8 break. Deer now towards 416 and starting to hold there. So Picard looking good there for the action through 99. Not a bad one look there. And actually looking pretty strong there. I kind of like this one, guys. I'm going to go back to the swing trade action and try to take some Picard. I might have to take the meta short off here. I'm going to set a tight stop on that meta. Look to see if I could get a little bit of Picard already. All right, guys, got 75 shares on the swing trade for Picard there. Just took 75. Looking to also add if I get a pullback towards like 97, but just wanted to at least have the start there. On Meta, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of protect it here, making sure that I'm securing the gains. So I just secured $98 on Meta. Back to Google. All right, so we got through that 940 to kind of dip there. Now I'm looking to see that we get this in the next 5 minutes, that we start to see that reversal coming back. 9:45 reversal time. I'll be watching for it. And a lot of times what I look for is, now does the Q start to make an attempt back up and Nvidia is starting to come back. I like that option here. So I'm looking at Google right now. All right, 163.90s here. All right, now we got about one, down one, up one, down two, up two, down three, up three. Looking for one more attempt down here towards the 163.75, and then I'm going to start the ads. Already getting that action there on that action. Now I'm looking for that one more dip there, but it looks good already. Trying to recover 164. One more dip down, and then you get a triple bottom look at the 163.80s. SoFi looking good on that 117. Run looks good also on that pullback. I'll look to see if it gets back above the 19s there. Google looking good. Just made a down attempt there. Still hasn't made that attempt to back through that 164s, but still looks good. Could start to just recover the VWAP and start to go. I still have 100 shares. I'm okay with that. I wanted to get up there. I want to get towards like 400, 500 shares, but I got to be careful here. All right, looking for that one more pullback here to just come back into that area here, and then I can go ahead and just add some more sizing. So a little pullback into that spot, and then it goes. That's what I'm looking for. If it just goes here, that's fine too. You can always just buy on the breakout. There's a SPY, and the Q's heading right back down, so I'm looking for that one more pullback here to come into play. If it just goes here, I'm in the green, so can't be mad about that. IonQ, how's that one doing right now, guys? 950s on IonQ. I hope somebody was able to nail that one. That one's actually doing really well on the run. So you guys in the chat, hope you're nailing that one. What's up out there, guys? You trade high price stocks. I stick to those $10 and less. Yeah, I mean, I move back and forth, man. I move back and forth. I talked about it earlier today that I wanted to kind of stick to a little bit of the higher level names, but trying to get after it. What's up? What's up, Wisdom? Take a look at Boyle. All right, here's Google now starting to get that move there, and the Q's kind of holding in here at the bottom end of the range there. So that's why I haven't added too much on Google. I'm still looking at potential pullback here, but hey, if it just takes off on Google, let it go. Let it go. Let's go. I'm going to go looking at AMD now. I can still trade some other names there, but it's just taking a look to see if we just start to get a rip back to the upside here. Soxal's still in the red, though. The Qs are red here, so let's see what happens. I still kind of like this action, but I need to take a look at the other big names, right? Apple's on the big pullback towards 228s. Let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon red here. Microsoft red. So just kind of stating the, names that are like kind of big red here. What's green in the Qs? What's big green? Walgreens Boots Alliance. Dollar Tree with a nice push up. Lululemon. Tesla with a big pullback towards 256. Intel staying strong. So that one's actually a pretty good name. Definitely looking at that. KHC strong today. On Semiconductor, not doing too bad there. PDD recovering there. Gilead. Not doing too bad there. Seeing Excel, of course, Excel's utility name. PDD. Looking around to see what else is making a move here. I'm seeing some railroads make a little bit of a push up. That could help the XLI. 15-minute recovery there for AMD's pattern. We were looking at this pattern off the 168. That just recovered the VWAP. That actually looks pretty decent there in AMD. Let's see if it goes to 169 in AMD today. Nvidia is still in the red, though. That's one thing that I'm noting. And then what is it doing? It's just playing off this hourly support. Unless this hourly support breaks through the 122s, I wouldn't be too concerned. It's kind of just playing some buy the dip off the 15 minutes. We'll go back towards the top end of that range. So looking really good. I wish I would have had more size, but hey, can't be mad about that. Maybe it was just a little bit too, maybe not willing to take it there. I don't know. I can tell you guys at least I wanted to take it, but I was trying to add back closer towards that 163.80s. So it would have put me at 163.90s. Hey, it is what it is. Now up there to 164.72s. Could take the 165 and keep going here. So what I'm going to look for is 15-minute pullbacks to the VWAP. So at 164.20s, I'll add. I'm just looking for VWAP pullbacks now. 5 minutes starts to look like a breakout here, and now could do that pullback, right? So now I'll be looking to see if we get that pullback, and then I can go ahead and play off like kind of pre-market support right around the VWAP, 164.16s, 164.20s, good levels to look for. Run starting to come back here for that 19 break here. So I'm looking at that one. I kind of like it here as it's trying to reclaim back towards the 1920s. I've seen 1, 2. I'm going to look for one more attempt down towards this support to break it and then starts to work back here in run. This one I will take in the limited account. So let's take a look at that. Run or ENPH, names that I could look at for this move. ENPH loves to make a nice little attempt on momentum. So that's one that I'm also looking at to maybe potentially trade it even in the main account. Problem with EMPH a lot of the times is the spread. The spread can get a little wide sometimes. Trade looks pretty symmetrical right now off the 115s to 115.50s. Quick pullbacks to 115.30 areas that I'd look at, but let's see what happens here. We'll run, take that next move too. I'd like to see one more reload at that 1880s. Google going for that 165 move, so looking good in that. I'll be up about $100 as it gets through that 165. That's not much though, right? I'm looking for more. It could get to 166, even up there towards this high here, 166.61. So SoFi looks like it wants the 8 move, guys, and this looks like a nice little scalp opportunity here. Qs are coming back up, so it actually even looks even better here for the scalp on SoFi through 8. But I played SoFi up here before and gotten caught before, so I'm going to leave it alone. NNE, I talked about how these could go again today and keep pushing. Yesterday, it pulled back to the 13. Nice little continuation move here on NNE. Just held that 1650s pullback. Looks like it wants to take the 1770s. Man, what a play these were, these nuclear. And we talked about this way before it happened. It's definitely something to watch. SMR coming off the bottom even looks even better on that hourly kind of retrace back towards 12. I'll be kind of keeping a very close eye on this. This doesn't look too bad. It does look weak. It does look a little weak today, though. It's a diversified industrial, so I'm looking at the industrials here. But look at the Qs right back to the high there. XLI coming down there. SOXL, though, coming right back up off of that bottoming. Let's see what happens. Will it take the next move there? AMD off the 168. There's Google through the 165 towards 165.07. So now I could either just take the money and run here or look to reload on a pullback. I'm going to reload on a pullback towards 164.25s. Deer on a little bit of a pullback. That doesn't look too bad. I know industrials are kind of getting hit right now, though. What will go red? Everything in the last hour is red except healthcare. So healthcare was pretty nice move there. LUNR, one that is making a move again today, guys. I know that you guys have been watching this one. It's on a little bit of a pullback, but holding well off that 8. We'll see if it goes back through that 8. Archer looks like is making a little bit of a move. If you like momentum names, this is one of the momentum names I'd take a look at today. Meta coming back towards the top end. That's going to get me out on the scalp on the swing. So I just want to mention that. Then Picard is coming back here. Be adding to Picard at 97. If it gets down there, that's ways away. Meta probably just going to take the money and run. MSOS went up there towards 723. He's now pulling back here. We'll see if it makes the next step up there. SoFi looks like it wants that 8. We'll see if it gets it. All right, guys, trying to trade, trying to get after it, guys. What are you guys taking a look at? Sox held 38.50. Pullbacks to buy. Let's go. ONCO. I can take a peek at it. Dipping KGC. Buys for longs. All right. How'd that TAL do? Ooh, look at that TAL. Going for that 11 break again today. This thing loves to run when it gets it. It's a China name. Yesterday, this thing got me out, but maybe it makes the run today. I've played this one multiple times. I've won and lost, right? So it's a hard name to trade. I will say that. So you guys like some small caps names that are interesting here. This on the 11 break looks interesting here. We'll see if it actually does get a big move here or not. I wanted to go trade this in the main account and even in the limited account, but I tried to tell myself to stick to the main plays today. And this is one at least that has a catalyst, but we'll see what happens there. TAL. Wisdom. Looks interesting. SoFi looks like it wants that 8. It's pushing for it. Run did make another attempt to the downside, so I'm ready for this on the limited account. Let's see if I can get it here. All right, nice little pullback here. I'm taking the first entry there at the 95s. I just got this pullback to the 83s, and that's what made me go for it. I talked about how I just wanted that one more pullback opportunity, and it did. So I'm taking it here. I'm trying to get it to go back through the 19s here. As it gets approached to the 19s, I want to add another 200 shares. Let's see if it gets that nice little push here. It's getting a little stuffed there a little bit. Watching EMPH, it's a good kind of also indicator here for the industry. And you can see solar is up here in technology. That's another reason why I'm willing to trade it today. So this is in the limited account. We'll see what happens here. I just got 200 shares right now. Take a look at the hourly here. It's all going to be about getting back above that 1925s on the next run. See the 15 minutes looks good. Just needs to get reloaded here and then go through that 19. Don't want it through that low there, the 83s there. You could test it, but I wouldn't want to see it close below that 83. Here's 89. See, they take it back through the VWAP here. Google 165.13. So that hasn't even pulled back, guys. So that's actually a really good buy today in that Google. I just should have gone a little bit bigger. But hey, it is what it is. I can try to add to it here. I'm still looking to see if it gets a pullback to the VWAP. It still hasn't done that. Just trying to start making the move now. Let's see if it starts to get some buying here to start showing up. Qs are pretty weak here. That's the one thing I'm keeping a very close eye on also. We want the Qs to get back above the 490s for the bull action. Bear action, you're looking for a takeout of that 489. Ouch. ONCO almost hit stop. Getting some kind of down attempt here, guys. Got to be protecting here in the limited account. Don't want it through that 78. Definitely getting a wick here test, but Qs are also heading down here, so you got to be careful here. Meta heads back down there. I wonder if I got stopped out. Qs could break here, right back to the 489 here, so just be careful. See what happens. Little bounce off that 489. Still haven't gotten Google to pull back so that I could take another shot on adding on Google, but here comes the Qs trying to break the 489. I'm still keeping a very close eye on that. Not going to add on run unless it gets back there towards 19. At 19 is where I can add. Holding right now. It's trying to make that move back there, but it's not finding the buyers. Meta just broke to the downside. EMPH recovering a little bit here, so looking to see if that can start making a move back to the top end. Here's 89s available for the run. Nvidia trying to break a low here. EMPH gets a little bit of some buying there. Let's see if they start to take the run now. Q still weak. VIXI trying to break 12. Here's a move back towards the 90s there. It's 10 o'clock, guys. 10 o'clock. First hour of the day done. What does that tell me? First hour of the day, pullbacks, pullback opportunities. Now let's see if the market wants to go ahead and take that, right? Take those pullback opportunities and take the market back to the highs. The Q's going back to 490.80s is what I'm looking for. I'm just seeing a jump there now and run. So that's a really good outlook here. We'll see what happens. It could be a fake out here. So still got to be careful for takedown attempts here. And you can see right there, quick move right back down in the Qs. It's going to be choppy here, guys, but I feel like you're getting the pickup now of a momentum. Be careful out there, traders. Choppy trading right now. Google now 165.40s, up about 140, up about 1.4 on the main account. And we'll take a look at that in a second here. But I'm just trying to get this run to start getting that push. The Qs are still, though, not really getting the lift there, guys. So if you're seeing it not really take off just yet, a lot of that is the Qs not going through the 490. That 490 is going to be that third, fourth resistance touch. It needs to get through that 490 on the upside of things here. So he's still a little weak there on the Qs. Not really getting that like big push there on the Qs, just trying to get back to that 490s. VIX just took a drop, but so did the Qs. So watching it here, 19 starting to show up. I'm setting my risk here and run. In a second, I'm going to start adding. Q's still heavy, guys. Still seeing the Qs not being able to make the move. Looking if EMPH can make a run here. I don't mind adding there, but the truth is that we're right off that breakout spot, and we haven't gotten breakouts lately. $165.60 now, almost $200 up on Google. Really wish that I would have had the 400 share size, because that's a $800 trade there in Google. That's what I should have had. That's what I should have been doing today. Just a little bit smaller size on that Google. And the big thing is I was trying to add slowly, and that's okay. I just didn't get to full size. There's the Q's big run to the upside here. I'm taking a shot. It goes to the 490s. We're taking a shot now and run. All right, guys, I just sized up here, taking the shot, looking for the break through the 19 now. I'm at 1890s. I got 600 shares here, so I can't go and risk too much here. Looking for the pop here in the limited account. Then I can go focus on Google. Google's breaking out there. I'll take a quick peek just to show you guys it. Look at that, 185, doing pretty well there in Google. So Google going for the break. Look at that, almost to 166 there, and it could pull back to the 164.40. So through the 166, probably should just take the money and run. We'll see what happens there. Pun intended. Going back towards run. Let me actually set up that profit take. $200 is not a bad little gain. I'm going to use that to make the next trade. That's what I'm really going to do here. All right, it's pulling a little bit off of that, so I'm going to go back, go protect, of course, the run. Google's just, Q's just pull back off of that, man. What a fake out. Watching for it right now. Just got to stay really close with the run. Video just headed down really quickly, guys. Just trying to pop over this 19, but can't do it right now. $19.02s. Not getting it, man. EMPH heading to the downside. Got to be careful there for quick sweeps down. Let's see if Run wants to get it. It has the opportunity here. Just got to be careful for 9 EMA takeouts. And there's the Qs coming down a little bit here, so be careful for a quick break of the Qs. EMPH heading down also. Meta heading down. NVIDIA heading down. Got to be careful with the Qs start to break down here. It could still take it back though towards that 490s. That's what I'm looking for. But takedown, you got to be careful. There's an attempt down. Ready to get it out if I need to. Qs are coming back for the break. I'm going to give it a chance here for it to go for the break. If not, I'll just get out. Nvidia's on the down move. Meta's on the down move. That's where I get a little bit concerned. But other than that, I'm seeing the Qs still trying to hold this 489. But if it gives up the 489, you got to really be careful. There's the 1905. So it looks good there for the breakout. At this point, I got to set a stop just in case it comes to reversing back below the 19s really quickly. So I'm ready to get out if it starts to just come back on me. Come on, break out here. Go for the 1920s. 1906. 1908. Come on. Let's go. All right. You have that potential breakout, right? At this point, right? So now what I'm going to do is in a second, I'm going to drop it, break even. Because it could reload at 19. But I'll tell you one thing. If it does come back through that level, I don't want to get caught on a wipeout of the Qs right now. And we know how choppy it's been on Fridays. So set myself up here for the move. But if it comes back at me, I don't want to get caught here. There's 1904, 1902s. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to set it for a small risk here. Set it, forget it. Let's see it. Does it want to go for it? I see the Qs making a down move there. That's what I'm a little bit concerned about here. I'll show you guys it right on the platform here. So you guys see it right there. I have the stop place, right? Got to be careful for it just coming back and getting me. But the truth is I see the Qs at the bottom end of the range there. And if all of a sudden we get a wipeout, I don't want to get caught on that. 1907 could go for the breakout towards the 1920s. At least I have the potential for it right now, right? And a very limited risk. There's a first attempt move for the breakout. Look, I'll cancel here and then go right back to it. I'm canceling to give it a chance to go for the breakout. I'm watching the Qs though and ready to drop it if needed. 1909, going for the break. Come on. EMPH going for the breakout too. But the Q's still on the bottom end of the range. That's where I say be wary. All right, 1910s. At this point, break even. If it comes for me, I'm in the green actually, one tick. 1899 is my stop. So at this point, I won't lose on it. I'm just giving it the chance that the Q's don't reverse on me. Target profit. Up towards that 1930s, I'll take the money and run. It could run to 1950s. I'm not even going to lie. Like the potential's there. But I got to see the Qs make me a good reversal here. There's 1914s. Qs still on the bottom end of the range, but EMPH going for the rip. So I'm staying in it right now. Qs on the bottom end of that, it could come back really quickly, guys. Setting up for a little bit of a bigger rip here. Come on. Give me a nice little rip through the high. Q's trying, man. They're trying. They're just right off the bottom there. But the only thing that's keeping it back, I think, is Nvidia right off the bottom, trying to break through the low. Needs to reverse off of that. Canceling my stop loss for a second here, just for a second, just to watch it. So I'm more careful about the loss right now than the win, and letting it try to work towards the breakout. Now it's towards that 16. It actually looks pretty good here to maybe take a little bit of money and just run on the first trade. Let's see if we can just get a little blow off here into the 20s. Qs are still weak. That's what's concerning about this. I'm just taking the money and running. All right, guys, I'm going to take that first $100 and use that cushion to try to make another trade. I wanted to kind of keep it going there, guys. But the truth is the Qs on the bottom and the way that Friday trading has been as of late is what creeps me out there. It creeps me out so much that I'm just like, all right, just take the money and run. Because look how weak this is. If it makes a quick move to the upside, I could still join the party and still get in it. But the Qs look like they want to just wipe out to the downside here. That's a little bit concerning. All right, going back towards my Google trade, got to watch that and watch the Qs here. If they make a hard attempt at the downside here, I just might have to take the money and run even in Alphabet here. So I'm going to cancel the target profit and show you how I move up the stop loss, because the moving up the stop loss is not a bad way to kind of secure wins here. So you can see how it double bunched on this pullback right here. So I'm securing 150 right now. I'm at 170. If it comes back at me, I secure 150. Securing money is so important as a trader. So a lot of times I don't like using stop losses so much for the loss side of things, because you can get hunted and you're showing your hands like in the poker hand, right? So what I think is more important is moving up that stop loss for your profits. Now that I've been using more and more, and that is a good way to go about it, right? Just guaranteeing the win when you finally have a win. There's nothing worse than having a win and then not getting the win. Yesterday, there was a penny stock where I lost like 280 when I was up at one point 260. We can't let that keep happening. We're going to go with it and try to be disciplined, right? That's what it's all about, right? Disciplined trader at work. Let's secure the win. Now we look forward to break through the 166 and the Qs reversing to the upside. If that happens, I can keep riding up the wave, but the Qs are breaking down big here. So what is it probably going to do? Take my money and run. Look at the Qs attempt down here. The Qs are attempting to the downside. So I'm going to pull this to the right so you guys can see that. Actually, you know what? I have a different chart that's a little bit better. Let me pull this here. Look at this one, guys. Have your grids out there, guys. Who has a grid chart on Trade the Pool platform? The grids are really good here. There's the Qs on the left-hand side. We'll put Google on the right here. All right, there you guys see it. There's Google. There's my position, right? So we took that money and run. What happened to run? It pulled back off that 1910. The Qs just took a down attempt here. If the Qs take a quick attempt back to the upside, I could go back to run. Qs look like they want to keep going here, guys. And if they do want to keep going, I'm going to lower the stop loss and give it a little room. But you see right now how it's starting to recover here. It could turn to a green candle. All of a sudden start making a drive to the upside. With that mentioned, right, I can also take a look to see VIXI short if that happens. I know that the VIXIs cost me, but it doesn't mind on the short side of things if the Qs start to reverse back and start to push. Google looking good here. I can also take a look at SOXL, as it's probably going to be looking really weak right now. But it has what? 1, 2, 3, 4 times trying to break through the low. So at this point, it could start looking like a reversal pattern. You can see how it's starting to build a support here right around this level. So undercutting the 39 and then recovery of 39 is what I'm looking at on SOXL right now. Am I going to take the trade early? No, I'm looking for that recovery through it. Back, let's say, through 39.02. Still looking heavy there. Still looking heavy. Might hit my Google stop right now. You could see it coming back. And then Google could come back to the VWAP. I'll look for VWAP entry again. So there it is. It took the money and ran on Google. I can come back after it. Really nice trade setup today on Google. Didn't get the trade amount that I wanted on Google. If I did, it'd be a monster win. Got to go ahead and just understand that. Got to find ways to have that bigger sizing on that trade. It was a really good trade, just not the sizing that I wanted, right? 400 shares there. I got in there at 164, out there at 165.53, $1.50. not too bad. Let's say $500, $600 trade. So let's see what happens now. Will Google pull back? Will it give me an opportunity at the VWAP? All right, run, you can see trying to reload there around the 918s, 920s it got to. Let's see what happens now. I'd like to see a nice pullback coming back towards the 1890s. Q's going for the lows here, and that's just how it goes. I'm waiting to see what happens on the Q's. It could break down here. I mean, it's definitely a battle. Let's go looking into the sectors. Let's see what we find right now. Basic materials still leading the day. Coal is on a takeoff right now. HCC is probably one of the names that I take a look at there. METC, that's a cheaper name. 1180s, still doing well there. AMR is another one. The top of the breed names. This is best of breed. Doesn't look too bad. Nice little undercut. Is this an undercut and rally? Yes, it is. Undercut and rally trade. Undercut a major support. Look for volume on that. That's a bigger trader, probably getting in down here around the 213s. Now it's really starting to take back off. Could be making its way back towards 300. Of course, you could have pullbacks on this, but strong action right now tells me to look for those hourly long pullbacks. IonQ, how's that done today? Let's take a look at it. IonQ now pulling back off of the 10 break. So went all the way up there to 10. Not a bad move there. I'd like to see hour-long pullback towards like $9 and below $9, and then look to see if this goes back to the upside. Google caught there and wants to keep going. So maybe it just doesn't even pull back to the VWAP. I will set an alert there. VWAP right now I have is 164.79. So 164.80s will definitely just put me back on alert and something to look at. There we go. Put that back up there. All right, we'll see if it pulls back on Google. Really nice trade there on Google today. All right, let's go to the swing trade, see how that's working out right now. Pakar is back into the green there. So that tells me industrials are starting to work its way back. That's going to help the market, guys. So XLI, one to watch. Deere, one to watch. Now up towards 417. Could watch Caterpillar, could do Pakar. All different types of play there. I have on the swing trade Pakar. I'm going to try to take my ad on Pakar here. All right, there you guys see it. I probably don't have enough there. Yeah, because I still got the meta trade on. I thought the meta trade would get hit. It did not get hit, guys. So I need to secure more profits on meta as we start to get up move in the market here. And I'm just going to protect the meta. But look at meta. It's heading to the downside. Could still break to the downside further. This is a really nice swing trade that I have now. And now I'm going to secure about like 150. Yep, just secured 150 and I'm up 180 on it. The swing trades, that's where it's at. That's where my bread and butter is. MSOS still doing really good on the day. The only thing is the Qs are holding me back from really taking a bigger approach in that. SPY coming back though, that's actually still doing pretty well today. If there's another area to watch, it's not technology so much today. It's other areas in the SPY leading. So let's take a look at what's leading in the SPY. What's moving? Well, casinos, Win, getting the nice little lift. LVS, one to kind of watch. And take a look at some of those casinos. There'll be some other ones that maybe you've never heard of making a nice little move today. Let's see. Century Casinos, CNTY. This one's probably not one you hear about often. The $2.55 stock getting a little lift there. Q's just made an attempt down to the downside there, guys. I did see that. All right, guys, so we got about 94 on the limited account. We got about 148 on the main account. Now got to keep going after it. Take a look to see what the Qs are doing and just try to catch to see what happens here. So now we're on hourly long pullback opportunities to break down. The only question is, will it break down? If I take a look at the MACD says, yes, we're starting to pull back. We've already crossed there on the hourly. But if I take a look there just based on this is where I think we're making attempted pullbacks to. Now, the only question is, will we break that, right? Or will we just make another move back here towards the top end of the range, 495s? We're coming down here, 488.50s. Could keep pulling back there, a little bit further back. I could see it maybe 187.30s, but we're slowing down there and it's near the support. So could be finding buyers. taking a look to see when the market could catch some bounce. ENPH now trying to make that break to the upside. So run's going to be looking good here. Look at that. That continued to go. Didn't pull back, guys. So maybe ran to the profits a little early today. That should have been a 930 sell there. And that would have been a nice, like, kind of $200-300 win in the limited account. Hey, it is what it is. At least I was able to play it. Was a stock that we looked at this morning. Good play there. ENPH is another one that I'm looking to see if that can continue to lift. Of course, for solar, you'd want to see it lift too. So, of course, if you want these to continue to run, First Solar is the strongest one. Would want to see that continue its merry way. And you can take a look at some other ones in this space, SPWR or some names like that, or SEDG, right? Start to look at the cheaper ones to see if the laggards are starting to make the move. And solar, making a decent move today. That tells me that maybe we do get the reversal on the Qs. There's it starting to come back there. SOXL is going to be the play that I'll be watching now. Let's go see if I can maybe play some SOXL action. Nice run there and run, guys. So if you guys were able to nail that, that looks good there. Got the enough pullback on SOXL. Let's go. Let's go. All right, guys, trying to get socks out here. Looking at the limited account, but the problem here is on the limited account, I try to keep the losses towards about 30, right? So got to be careful here, trying to overextend too quickly here. I'm seeing the Qs jump, though. That's the only thing that it's a little bit scary. I would love to see SOXL jump down there towards 80s. Come on, drop down into the 80. There we go, 83s, 82s. 79, 78s. I'm taking a shot there, guys. Just grabbed it there, guys, at the 80s. So grab the 100 shares there. I'm in the limited account here. I have $100 of risk today. Use that as a cushion. If it comes back through 39s, I want to add and take a shot here. Big thing is going to be watching the Qs and NVIDIA coming back. I do see those coming back, and that's going to give it a little help here. The SPY just made an attempted move for a breakout. That's something else to watch, right? 15-minute chart on the SPY, high 593.90s. Looking to see that get taken out there. Go see the SPY at 554s or 574s is a good look for continuation. Could get a double bottom or triple bottom on that 38.50. So keeping that in mind there. I'm looking at the 5-minute. The 5-minute MACD still hasn't crossed back. So just got to be careful here. Really need to see it start to come back towards 39.50s. Qs are still weak, though. It did bounce there, but not a big one. Looking to see if the SPY can bring it back. Man, run now to 1940s. So definitely sold that a little early, guys. It was a really nice setup. I was looking at it, was watching for this, as this could even go all the way to 20 today. This is definitely the one that I like the best. It was a good opportunity there. I saw the Qs breaking down there, and that's what got me a little bit scared. Maybe should have just stayed in the position, because it was a really nice run, pun intended. But look at that. Held the 9 EMA really well. Now to 946. So I mean, I had this at the low 19, 600 shares. That would have been a really nice trade there. You just got to keep it going, man. Got to keep battling. SOXL now taking a little bit of a quick dip there as the Qs go lower, and they're doing a little bit of a trick there. Meta's still going down there, and so is NVIDIA. I need NVIDIA back at VWAP. The SPY is going for the break, though, on the upside. So that could be one to take a look at. SPXL is going to be doing a lot better than SOXL, right? So maybe it was trading the SPY that was looking like a breakout and holding the VWAP. That looks actually pretty good. Another thing to look at is what else is in the SPY, making the move to the upside. So you got your cyclicals and your financials moving to the upside. So SoFi looks good. Look at that. Held the pullback to 8. We'll see if it keeps going on the upside. Has a daily move towards like 845 there available. We'll see what happens. SOXL now just tried to make one more attempt to the upside here. If it can't get going here, it's probably going to fail there at the 65. So I'm going to get ready to get out at the 65 if needed, if it goes for the takeout there. All right, you just got that down attempt to try to break things. So I just put it a stop at 38.63. So if it comes back to that 63, I want out. But if it gets back to that 39, I'll look for an add. There we go. It just triggered me out there at that 63. Lost 17 there, but it gives me the ability to not let this flush through the 40s here. Trading has been hard on Fridays. I'm not going to act like I know that the reversal's happening just yet. Back through the 39s, I can go right back in it with 200 shares, keep using some of my cushion. Just used less than $20 of that cushion there and saved myself if it does collapse here. Google still looking for pullbacks on that. That pulled back for a slight second, caught me at the 65.50s, then ripped through the 66. So Google's just strong, guys. This looks good for a swing trade now, right? I mean, looks really nice. It could start making an approach back towards 180. So I actually really like it on the swing trade. I'm just waiting to see what happens in Meta. If I get stopped out in Meta, I'll probably end up taking that, taking another swing. Now run giving a quick little pullback opportunity. I think that will give at least an opportunity back down, maybe even closer to 19. So you are getting that opportunity. The Q's still kind of a little bit wicky here on the 15-minute. I'm just looking to see what happens. It's definitely trying to get back there towards the 489.50s, but hasn't been able to get that opportunity just yet. Dollar Tree bounced off the rebound there. So XLP probably going to the upside there. And there it is, guys. XLP is on a breakout back towards the upside. That's actually a good outlook there. We were looking at this yesterday to see if it would start to make a push. And that just tells me more and more that the weakness hasn't just completely gone away. So take a look there. Dollar General right back to the upside there, starting to push. And some people put out negative tune on these dollar stores today. And it just goes to show you, even the lemmings at the banks, they don't know everything. So, hey, we'll see what happens there. Q's now making the move back towards the 489.27. Let's see if it gets back above the VWAP here. It's just sideways there on the 15. You can see it, really small candles, big wicks. What does that mean? Well, that means tricks on both sides. So right now, I think we need to kind of hang out. Should have stayed longer myself on run out at 1922. Yeah, it was a tough one there, but hey, just got out of the stock sale. Maybe it just undercut me and then it starts to make that move back towards the upside. It did get me out at the 63 and that was the low there, 62. So maybe I just got caught there. I'll tell you one thing. I'm just waiting for the move back to the 39s. Tell me that you really have it, stock sale, and I'll go looking back at you. IonQ, of course, that's pulled back there and now starting to make the next move, guys. Pulled back to the 922s, almost 15s, and now that's right back to 963. Could take 10 now. It looks interesting there. It's definitely catching pullbacks, and it's on a 1 cent spread, which is why I like IonQ right now, is that 1 cent spread. ONCO, that one didn't do anything pretty much, so. RKLB, is that Rocket Labs making a move today? Yeah, Rocket Labs. As you get in some aerospace and defense stocks to move. Of course, LUNR is another one that's going to be moving with that. Archer Q's make a down attempt here, and Soxel would have got me out on that move, guys. So I'm happy I saved myself some of the coin. SPY still strong, so a little bit of a mixed noise today, guys. The Q's really weak, SPY strong, and now let's see if the SPY gets weak here. What will happen? VIXI's trying to take a little bit of an up approach and go for a breakout back to the upside. Of course, this hasn't gone anywhere recently, but just keeping an eye on it to see if we really just all of a sudden just really break down on the Qs, because it looks pretty weak there. NVIDIA is still weak, guys. NVIDIA is down to 121, and it's looked ugly all day. Amazon's looked ugly. Microsoft's looked ugly. Apple's looked ugly. So we'll see what happens there. Apple's a little bit better. Tesla's looked ugly for sure. It's back to 254, faked out to 260 earlier. But I also talked about how that could lift forward, and now you're starting to see that lift and forward. I talked about how when Tesla lifts, guess what lifts also? Forward, baby, because it just follows. It's just a follower to that Tesla. We'll see what happens there. It's approaching back towards the 1125s. Doesn't look too bad there as it starts to make a push, even on a day where the market's kind of not having that great of a day. Ford is doing well there. And I also take a look to see a GM take off. I've made mentions of that. Now GM has had a nice little down gap to fill right back towards 48. If Tesla can remain strong, I think GM can make its way right back into that gap. EMPH, quick move down there, guys, and kind of a down gap there. So it's trying to catch traders now. You get this opportunity back at 19, but it's just hard to say that the Qs are coming back to the upside today, even though you have a little bit of what I call slowdown action at the bottom. When will this turn back? It went up towards the VWAP and rejected it here. So we could be in a little bit of some breakdown. SPY could make a sweep down, and that's what I'm looking for, to see if the SPY makes a quick sweep. Gold down to 2064. That's getting faded on today. Q's trying to make the low break. SPY could be pulling back here. Google's still strong there. That's going against the market. Nvidia trying to break a new low there. You can see it's trying to go back through that 120. Defensive's going higher now. Defensives are on a takeoff today. TAL ever make a move? No, it did not. Loading though. Let's see if it makes one today. It's not a bad watch. Q's still chopping around, guys. I'm trying to let the chop chew out. Run looked interesting at that 19. I didn't grab it because it just was too much risk in the Q's to continue breaking down. But run did look interesting on that 19 pullback. It's at the VWAP if you want to take that opportunity. I just don't like it with the way that the overall market and the Q's are looking right now. Clean Spark pulled back there today towards 10, now recovering. That one looks a little bit better if we can get the Q's to actually make a move to the upside, as we did get the hourly long pullback already. Soxal now down to 38.25s, 38.30s. It went down to 38.14s. So definitely would have got me out. Let's just say that much, right? So glad I got out there in the limited account and just took the small hit. Vixie still just hanging out there. SPY is the one that I'm watching to see if it gets a takedown. But if it does, Vixie's going to take off here. Vixie looks like it wants to move. I'm going to take one more try in the Vixie today, and this week at least. Just going for it right now. See if I can get it here. All right, guys, just grabbed it there. 1203s on the main account there. 1203s. I'm seeing the Qs come down. I'm seeing the SPY looking pretty heavy here. We'll see what happens in the Qs. The Qs is what I want to see just completely keep tumbling. NVIDIA is the one that's getting hit hard. So is Meta. So those names I want to see keep getting hit here. I'm going to take a shot there in the main account there in the VIXI, but I'll also be looking to see if maybe I take another trade to the upside. If the Qs can reverse, I'll be watching to take upside trades in, of course, the limited account, right? So just switch to that account. Just going to be battling here and seeing what happens. If we do get a quick rip in the Qs to the upside, could take a look to see if maybe run It could be another play right back up, right? And then also can look at Soxel off the 38s. This is an opportunity for it to start working its way back. Watching the Qs, right? The Qs just made that quick spike to the downside, and so did the SPY, and it went right off the VWAP and bounced there. So back towards, let's say, 574.25s, you could easily get the Qs to start playing follow. And then now you get NVIDIA to start going back. So I'm watching NVIDIA, I'm watching Meta, and those types of names. At the main account here, I have 138 in cushion. So I'm going to take a shot here, guys. Q's bouncing a little bit. Still rejecting the 15-minute moves, though. SPY making an approach right back. Q's making an approach right back. Will the Qs play bounce here? I like it. I like the 1 hour move. IWM looks good. I take a look at the IWM. Yeah, IWM does look great. It's good eyes there. Good eye there, Nando. That one looks good for a swing also. Remember, it was down here before the kind of the event, of course, of the Fed. It pulled back, held the 90 EMA, the 220s. 220 seems like a good level today that it got bought off of. Now I'd look for pullbacks to like 221.50s, but does look good there as it starts to approach back towards 225s. You could also take a look at what's in there that's actually driving this, right? Take a look at the bigger names there to see if there's any of them that are kind of driving it, and that could help you try to maybe find a move to the upside. AUR, a nice little move on this one. Daily chart looks interesting as it's pulled back, trying to make another move back. Of course, that's an autonomous play going into Robotaxi week, and that makes sense. Even Abercrombie getting a little bit of a lift today in the IWM. So that's pushing well. Q's now back into the 489s, given the ability to reverse back. And the only question is, will it? SPY says yes, but we'll see if it gets through that 574. Soxel trying to come back there, 38.50s. NVIDIA, 121s. That still hasn't come back. All right, guys, looking around to see what else I can get into. So 1039. Market's going fast. There's the Qs trying to get back above the 489. Trying to start doing a little recovery on the Qs. Where's Google, man? Google's just kept going, man. Maybe I got caught on that pullback, missed out on this, because now it's the 167. But imagine the 400 shares there. That's where I should have been going after it. It was a good trade there on Google. Really good eyes on that one. Just didn't get it. And this would be also a good one for a swing, right? Because at this point, you could sell a portion of it and just keep the rest as break even. Q's continuing to climb back there, 489.20s now, putting the pressure on me on the VIXY for sure. Now the 12s are going to be definitely pressured a little bit as the Q's start to come back here, and the SPY is looking like it wants to break that 574. You can see the SPY trying to make its way back there. Q's are coming back to the VWAP. This is what I was looking for just a little earlier on that Soxel, and we're back closer towards that Soxel reversal, but it still hasn't gone through the 39. we're playing into a little bit of a chop right now. So that's why I'm just hanging tight in the VIXY. I got to see the SPY play out here a little bit. It's going to be hard. All right, guys, I do see somebody in the back trying to join in here. Let's go ahead. Let's bring him in just a second here. You ready to go, my friend? Always ready. Let's go ahead. Let's bring on the man himself. What's up, Tim? How we doing?
Hey, just checking out a Friday morning. Trying to have a Green Friday, which I've just gotten back into. So, rain picking up, or the wind picking up a little bit here. How is it over there?
Now it's nice and nice. I mean, now it's pulling the clouds away. So, I think it'll be a nice day today. Now, so.
Beautiful. So yeah, I was just looking at some of these reactions to the consumer confidence numbers. I think I saw some movement off the PCE, but that seemed to be where it really kicked in. But yeah, I was surprised. We see the sell off in semis, retailers pushing, like especially Dollar Tree got in on that, and that's going well. Disney also a big move. I don't know if there was some news on it that you were following, but.
No, it's starting to make its way back. I mean, the monthly candles on Disney don't look too bad. It looks like it's starting to approach back towards 110. At least that's what I see on the chart. So, one of the things is with Disney, I'd say, you got to use sometimes a bigger time frame chart on it. But you are getting a nice little attempt back towards resistance. So at least 99 looks like it's trying to get back towards first spot. It's going to be this 96, 96 30s, 96 50s today. But you got the chance to move. I think right now what's interesting is the SPY. The SPY kind of divergence from the Qs right now. SPY is up pretty decent, looking like it wants to break through the high, but the Qs are really weak still. Even though the Qs are coming back, they're still below VWAP. So I'm looking right now to see if the SPY just dumps, because that could still happen.
And meanwhile, Russell and the Dow are both up pretty decently. So
yeah, I don't know. Is up pretty decent. I see that.
Trying to see if they're running out of steam. Yeah, the other things I'm following. So I'm in ESTA right now. I got in that breast implant approval. And shippers. Are you watching shippers?
What? You're getting implants, bro? What's going on here, Tim?
Right. Well, I'm gonna try for that Victoria's Secret job. So take over.
I see it. I see it. That's why I wanted to short Victoria's Secret. That's what it was. All right.
And so some friends were talking about shippers. I haven't gotten into that too much, but off that potential long-term strike.
Yeah, that strike is actually one that I brought up here. I think it's an important one to look at, guys. And look at the action in Zim. We talked about it here. I mentioned it as soon as I saw the report, and I think that was very important. SBOK is one, of course, to kind of keep an eye out for, and that's actually gotten hot in the last day or two. So I'd keep an eye out on this. I put it out on my Twitter. Like always, I try to put out some ideas out there. This is definitely one of them. And I would continue to watch this because this could actually ramp. And these names, oh boy. This is the number one trade that got me into trading.
Oh, wait, yeah. CTRO. I was just going to say, you're looking at SBLK. I was going to say, you seen, you follow Casters.
Dude, top shits, bro. There we go. Tops, bro. This was the one. If there's one going
Tanker
from
$9
to $60, it could be tops.
And I remember when CTRM was like early on, and they just kept diluting to buy ships, and it just seemed like it was going to be a never-ending thing. And then they had that. They finally started cranking it. So I haven't even checked in on it in ages, but
Ship is also another one here, guys. So if you guys want to know these are the ones, right? These are the ones that like have gotten at least the history of ripping when these moments happen. I think you keep an eye on these. It's something definitely to think about. And I look at them as more like kind of swings because that's how they're going to be a lot of the times. But that tops looks interesting, man. It looks interesting because of the way that this thing has action when it does pop. You got to sometimes maybe get in a little early with some small size, see what happens. But hey, nothing right now that I'm looking at. We'll see what happens there. Looking around to see what else is moving in the market here. Right now, seeing the SPY trying to make the up move. The Qs, though, just can't get back above the VWAP, man. Doesn't seem like it. Doesn't seem like it. Boogie woogie. Yay, yay. We need some blues playing right now, man. Might have to take off the monetization one day.
Oh, Cassava settled with the SEC. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, they settled. They settled all right. That company's going to zero, bro. Zero, man. What, another lying company in the biotech. So you got to be careful with those biotechs, man. What was it? Theranos or whatever? The famous
Theranos?
One? Yeah.
I worked for I was working for a blood analyzer company, not Theranos, at the time that they were like pumping their whole idea, and it was the hematologists there, man. They were just like, no, it's nuts. You can't do it. But
yeah, I'm sure they were like, what?
People get blinded by those dollar signs, you know.
But how?
And I think Elizabeth Holmes, I think she was a true believer in her own thing. I think she thought, oh, we'll get it right eventually. Just a little bit down the road, we'll figure it out. It'll be groundbreaking, but.
Yeah. A true believer, I like it, man. I'd like it. You got to be careful with those true believers.
You get yourself in that hole, and then good luck getting out.
Yeah, man. Once you're a believer, you're in it, man. All right. We'll see what happens, guys. Soxel trying to make that attempt back here, guys. 39 is their area where I think I'm definitely going to watch to see if it goes back through. From there, I can start to play maybe some scalps. That's what I'm watching right now. SPY 574, big level to watch here. We'll see if it gets through that. You can see it trying to load up and get there. Let's see what happens here.
I'm looking at a short on Onco also because so that was up just on Altos Venture AG reporting a 32% stake. But I don't know that they're continuing buying, so looks like it's already given up the pre-market pop and then last night's aftermarket. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a good filet mignon, at least for the time being. But we'll see what happens there. I'm looking at XOM for potential short as oil was mentioned with the Saudis, saying that they're not going to keep their $100 a barrel outlook. This has filled the gap right back. So a lot of times when these fill the gap, it's an opportunity, right, at least to play it. I was looking at maybe even a move back through 114 today, but we've made a move now to 115.50. It looks interesting for like a swing short, right? Maybe risking 116 or maybe waiting for it to actually break back down below that 115 now that it's hit it a couple times.
Oh, interesting. I'm long oil right now, but that's just in general. An inflation.
Yeah, that was the mention that was a little bit concerning for me because I was starting to flip back long, and then when the Saudis said that, I was like, okay, yeah, that's really bad because they run OPEC.
Yeah,
like I don't care what anyone says, the Saudis run OPEC, whether you believe it or not. I mean, hey, just go look at one of their meetings; they'll tell you enough. And I think that we got to keep an eye on that. If they just start pumping like crazy, we're already pumping like crazy in the United States. So then the production goes high, and that's an actual way that you can. And let me say it nicely. You can make it seem like better productivity out there, right? Because you bring the oil prices down and then things look better in the economy, really, because then you can say, oh, but the consumer now has more money in their pocket because they're not spending so much on gas. But really, we know how gas prices go. They go down like 50 cents. Doesn't change too much, right?
If there's a demand downturn, right? That's the other thing. But I wonder whether this hurricane will affect supply at all, also of WTI, right? Like, I assume it won't, but maybe it would.
All right, guys. Well, it's 10:50 here, and a lot of times in trading, what do you got to do? You got to take bets, right? So at this point, I'm looking at the VIXI to see what happens. Will the SPY just all of a sudden tumble here, and the Qs come right back down? So that's the one thing that I'm a little bit concerned about. And you can see how the Qs rejected it. The third time to get above the VWAP. So now the leak could come in here. I'm going to take a bigger shot in the VIXI in the main account here. I've taken already shots before like this size, so I'm going to go for it one more time here. 4,000 shares, VIXI, It's a big size, right, for me. And I've had some trouble this week playing heavy size, right? And the big thing that I've learned is that it's going to happen, right? When you size up, you're going to run into a wall at some point, right? And we know that at that point, what do you need to do? Just need to go back to what was working, right? So at this point, just looking for that to kind of work now. Now this has held the VWAP also 2 or 3 times here on pullbacks. So we'll look to see if we can really get going here. The SPY needs to break down though. If the SPY doesn't break down, ain't going to get it. So we'll be watching for that action here in the next kind of 10, 15 minutes. We'll see what happens. And if anything reverses pretty wickedly, I could always go to that limited account and go looking for a trade, right? Maybe stock sell on the upside reversal or something like that. We'll be watching to see what happens. Overall, on the swing account, guys, you guys see it. 3 trades on, 3 in the green. We'll continue to watch to see what happens there. MSOS, I won't let that go red. Looking for a bigger trade on some cannabis. Pakar, I have 75 shares. I want to put out some more shares out there. I do have a limited ad at 97. We'll see if we're able to get that filled. Meta, we'll look for that to continue going lower. Meta's been pretty weak all day. We'll look to see if it reverses back through, like, let's say 568. I'll probably just get out for that 150. But let's see what happens there in Meta. Any outlook that you got for my friend before we start to wrap it up here in just a couple seconds?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking for I'm looking for the London close. I think this morning we got the PCE, and then things kind of seemed like they were holding back to get a definitive move. We got the consumer confidence, and we've got the London close, and then we've got the rig counts later. So I think we're going to see, basically going into the weekend, we're going to get a sense of which way things are actually headed. So I see, I don't know, retailers, I see some support there. Just went long target. Semis, I don't know. I'm going to keep writing it down as long as it'll let me. And the rest we'll just have to see. But.
Yeah, we will. Taking a look right now to see what's going on in SQQQ land or something like that. See if maybe I do another little scalp in the kind of the main account. Just saw a little leak there. Let's see what happens in the next kind of 10 minutes here. It's going to be important here. SPY heading back towards the VWAP. Let's see what happens. It could still whip Sol right back towards 574. Definitely the casino trade was one of the best trades this week. I hope somebody was able to nail that one. Look at Win today. Nice little rip there to 96. Even though it was already up in the pre-market a significant amount, those casinos took off. Las Vegas Sands was the one that we were looking at on Wednesday. Should have taken the swing on that one, Mitch. Look at that beast. That's a beast right there. So, like always, take a look.
Memory. What was the catalyst there? Or
just Macau. Macau exposure, man. So sometimes, like when you get,
I'm not even checked in, I guess, on that. So I gotta.
So it's just a China stimulus, right? So when we already knew it on Monday that they were going to have the meeting on Tuesday, they already had announced some stimulus throughout the weekend. So on Monday, I was like, man, if they give anything positive, they're going to see that lift, right? Now the question is, what are the non-obvious plays? I was like, well, go looking at the Macau play, right? Because that's the non-obvious play, right? The obvious play is Baba, JD, the main ones that just come to your head. But you got to sometimes think of the one that isn't the obvious one. No one was thinking about casinos before Tuesday, but Tuesday came and now casinos seem sexy. That's why I laughed this morning when I saw the upgrade in Win, because they act like they knew this was going to happen. And I always think this is what happens with analysts. They always try to come and they try to act like they knew it was going to happen. Morgan Stanley upgrading the stock overnight, highlighting the strong fundamentals compared to peers. This has nothing to do with the fundamentals, man.
Yeah. And we were in, we were having just our kind of recap this morning of our discussions of the week in the Discord. And we have a new trader in there, a new stock trader. And he was asking, I'm used to futures. How do you find the stocks? And I told him, we were watching you got a great little conversation at the opening, a little monologue. But you were sharing some of that. So I told him, hey, watch this show. If you want to learn how to find those things. And that's a beautiful find, that Macau play. So hats off to you, man. Yeah. And Felipe, if you're watching, there you go. That's a perfect example.
Yeah, and that's
So,
what it's about. And I think that I say this all the time, guys. If there's one area where I feel retail traders can still have edge, it's understanding rotation and how themes work, and how when certain things happen, yes, you need to be a little bit ahead of the event, like the meta event, right? Similar example. We just need to be looking a little bit ahead of stuff. Try to be watching what could get a lift, right? Like, let's say if you're thinking rate cuts, so you think about what could be affected from that, right? It's not necessarily what's moving right now, but what can we find in these themes, right? And so maybe it's autonomous.
and I love
right?
it because you're not limited to just the macro, right? Like you can narrow in though if you think there's a name that's weak, a name that's strong. So
Yeah, and you can play both, right? You can put a little YOLO money in a smaller name and still play the higher quality name also, right? So like, let's say a perfect example right now that we've been talking about, right? Tesla's going into their robo-taxi day. I think you'll start to see as Tesla lift, Ford lift, GM lift. I've talked about that today early on.
Rivian?
Rivian, perfect example.
You think so?
Perfect, my friend. You said it. I don't even have to. I literally could have taken.
I haven't looked at him in a little while. I need to check in.
I haven't taken a look at the chart, but why is it going up? You'll see the media tell you something else, but it's just as simple as that, guys. The algos, they see something move, right? A leader like Tesla, they go try to play the laggard. They just start nibbling at these trades until they see Tesla take off. And then that gives them that nibble to keep adding as it goes back. When they see Tesla give up, guess what they give up first? These really quickly, because the leader comes and shows you it, right? I call it the leader laggard trade. Always take a look at that trade. It's a very good trade to take a look into. That's why I was talking about on today's playbook, Deere and Picard. Look at Deere. Deere was on the playbook, right? And I talked about this week, look for Picard to be kind of that more laggard style trade. What's the leader? We have a new leader. Deere is the leader, but Trump made Cat the leader. As you see Cat on the takeoff, right? And what is this play? This is just an interest rate play. Interest sensitive rate play. What happens
how's URI doing? I'm guessing this is people making capital expenditures then. Yeah. So interesting that rentals are up as well though, right? Like
you would think that the rentals would take the hit, Tim, but to tell you the truth, what's happening now is you can go borrow money to get those rentals.
Yeah, true.
So you get what I mean? That's what you're doing. So if
you can buy the properties that you then have to develop and so on. Yeah.
So like, let's say if I was a project manager now, I can see like all those projects that I was like, maybe these are a little bit too expensive in this environment. They start looking a little bit better. Now maybe we can go after those projects, right? Yep. Mentality like that, I guess, guys, is something that most traders don't think about, but I think it's the number one way to find a really good trade. I started seeing the oil situation to the downside. I said, take a look at the airlines. Look at American now. It's starting to move, right? Things like this are things that it doesn't normally transition to it, but if you think and you really dig deep, you can find these thematic style of trades. And what I like is that now you can go and use combination of variables, right? Not just because the stock looks good on the chart, but you have a catalyst, you have things that should affect the fundamentals, right? The catalyst will affect the fundamentals that will affect the technicals. And then all you need is just like industry help, right? So like on the airlines, we started getting industry help with Love's mentioned. So Love started getting some support. They started putting out some good press. That gives it the support. DAL is your leader. Look at DAL just run, and you play the lag. So I've been seeing DAL run, and I'm like, when would AAL take off? When will these other ones take off? Why? Because they need something to help them. And the thing that I think helped them as of late was the oil coming down. Oil prices come down. They can go ahead and bring the prices down of the holiday tickets right now that everyone's trying to buy for December and the months coming, right? They can slightly bring it down because they can go and secure oil at a lower price. These are all ways to win, team. And I think that that's so important. Like, yes, I can, Tim and I can be like, this support, this resistance, but these types of trades really can make a kind of build your account to that next level, especially for our
Don't
swing
forget
traders
that
out there.
seasonality too. Like you said, the end of the year, like it drives me nuts. They're already putting all the Christmas decorations in the store. I'm like, we haven't had Halloween, let alone Thanksgiving, but that means also you can start positioning for that holiday spend, and I'm still in Bark, but I'll be looking at them again. I think the pets, I think people are going to keep spending on their pets. That's just my focus
that would
right
never
now.
go away. That would never go away. That's like a staple now.
Yeah.
You'd probably feed your pets before you switch on to ramen. So we'll see what happens there, guys. Definitely smash the like. It's always good to have Tim in here, guys. Always check out the Discord. So much going on in the Discord every single day. If you're missing out that community, yet you enjoy this community, you're doing it wrong, right? So go check him out, of course, guys. Tim's always there. He's always there to build. That guy doesn't stop. The other day I was watching and he was sending me messages at like 3 a.m. I was like, Tim, do you sleep, man? There's no stopping.
There's always a market open somewhere, right? So
always a market out there somewhere. I know you do a little futures too, right? And so
yeah, not this month. It's more building stuff, as you said, but
I think
it'll be an interesting fall. I'm excited to see. I hope for the real economy, quote unquote, that things work out well. But I think one way or another, we're gonna see some interesting shakeups. So
yeah, I'm looking to see maybe another housing push. I know that some people are already taking a look at these and like, oh no, Toll Brothers is not going to make another move. Just take a look at it, guys. Take a look at these housing stocks. I have a feeling they're going to be pretty interesting. Builders Resource, all these building material companies, Car. You need ACs to put in all of these houses, guys. If you're going to build them all, guess what? They just call Car. And they just call them and they're like, yo, bring like 100 ACs. We need 100 ACs. Well, things like this, guys. Those are the type of plays that I say. Don't miss out on these and definitely catch them because it could be definitely moves that continue moving, right? And that's when you feel like trading's easier. Like if you hear a trader say that trading's easy, it's probably because he caught an industry-wide move or a sector-wide move. That's how the NVIDIA traders feel. They're like, this game's easy, bro. Well, just, when you catch the sector-wide move or an industry-wide move, they say it all the time. There's a quote, right? It just says that the tide can lift all boats, right? And if the tide is in your favor, it can do just that. Lift all the boats in that area. All right, we'll be back on Monday, of course, guys. Stay safe out there. I know a lot of people were hit with the hurricane, so if you're just listening in and had a tough time, hey, well, we wish you guys the best from here. I know Tim and I are in the Southeast, so we'll be with you guys and battling. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be back on Monday. And like always, let us know what you want to see more or less of on this show. We'll always push to make it better. See you guys back on Monday.